The forest was silent, save for the rhythmic crunch of leaves underfoot. Rocky pushed aside a thick fern, his paws clutching a collection of smooth gray pebbles. He stopped, his gaze snapping upward. Above the dense canopy, a piercing blue pulse flickered atop Moonlight Mountain. It was not the moon. It was not a star. The light throbbed with a steady, rhythmic frequency that cut through the dark. Rocky hitched his backpack higher, his jaw set. He did not hesitate. He pivoted and sprinted toward the rocky incline, his lungs burning with the sudden exertion. Near the trailhead, Mia the squirrel dropped from an oak branch, landing with a soft thud. Her tail twitched in rapid, sharp motions. She did not ask questions. She saw the intensity in the way Rocky moved, and she fell into stride beside him. They reached the base of the mountain where the air grew colder and the ground turned to jagged stone. The blue glow intensified, washing the trees in an unnatural, shifting hue. Rocky scanned the path ahead, marked by tangled roots and steep, unforgiving slopes. He shoved his hands into the dirt, found a grip, and began to climb. The mountain was awake, and they were the only ones moving toward the center of the mystery. The trail narrowed, winding through a dense thicket of thorns. A sudden high-pitched squeal pierced the air, cutting through the rhythm of their climb. Rocky skidded to a halt, his claws digging into the soft earth. Mia stopped instantly, ears swiveling to pinpoint the sound. They scrambled toward a damp, rotted log blocking the path. A hedgehog lay wedged tight, spines snagged deep into the jagged, decaying bark. The animal thrashed, but every movement only drove it deeper into the wood. Rocky reached down, bracing his feet against the mud while Mia tugged at the hedgehog's paws. They pulled, but the wood held fast. Rocky took a deep breath, shifted his weight, and threw his entire force against the log. Mia mirrored his effort, her muscles bunching as she pulled with everything she had. With a final, sharp heave, the wood groaned and splintered. The log shifted, tumbling away into the brush. The hedgehog rolled out, panting heavily. It stood up, shook its quills, and looked at its rescuers. No words were exchanged. The hedgehog simply stepped into line, signaling its intent to follow. The group turned back toward the path, their pace now synchronized and steady. The path ended abruptly at the bank of a roaring stream. Water churned over dark, slick stones, creating a relentless, deep-throated sound that drowned out all other noise. Rocky scanned the bank, his eyes darting across the rushing water until they landed on 3 thick, fallen branches. He pointed to the narrowest point, where the current seemed slightly less violent. Together, they hauled the timber. The wood was waterlogged and heavy, sinking into the mud with every inch they gained. Rocky grunted, digging his paws into the silt, while the hedgehog and Mia pushed from the sides. They heaved the logs into the stream. The water slammed against the wood, nearly spinning it downstream. Rocky lunged forward, jamming his shoulder against the branch, using his entire body weight to pin it against a cluster of rocks. With a final, coordinated shove, they wedged the ends into the deep mud, creating a makeshift bridge. The structure groaned under the pressure of the water. Rocky stepped onto the branch first, testing its stability. It held. He beckoned the others across. They moved with focus, eyes fixed on the opposite bank. As they reached the other side, the blue glow from above intensified, casting long, dancing shadows against the stone. They were no longer just climbing. They were entering the heart of the anomaly. The summit air was thin and cold. Rocky crept toward the edge of a massive, jagged boulder and peered into the void beyond. He froze. A cavern stretched out, its walls embedded with thousands of glowing blue crystals that pulsed in rhythmic, blinding waves. The light hummed with a low-frequency vibration that rattled his teeth. Before he could call out, the ground beneath them shuddered violently. A deep, grinding sound echoed from the mountain core. Rocks the size of boulders broke free from the ceiling, crashing down into the blue light. Dusty debris filled the air, choking the path. Rocky scrambled back, pulling Mia and the hedgehog behind a stone overhang. As the dust settled, a sharp, high-pitched chirp cut through the roar of the collapse. From behind a cluster of shattered, glowing shards, a creature stumbled into the open. It was a tiny dragon, its wings dragging uselessly against the stone. It let out another small, sorrowful chirp, collapsing onto its side as more debris rained down. The cavern floor tilted beneath them. The threat was immediate, and the tiny creature was trapped in the heart of the falling stone. Rocky stepped out from cover, his eyes locked on the dragon, bracing himself against the tremors. Rocky stepped forward, hand extended. The baby dragon nudged his palm, its scales cool and vibrating with a soft, residual light. It pointed a single claw toward the northern ridge. Rocky understood. They tracked the creature's path, following a faint trail of glowing dust left on the damp moss. The trek took hours, navigating narrow ledges and winding tunnels until they reached a hidden, warm cavern entrance tucked behind a waterfall of stone. A larger dragon emerged, its wings spanning the width of the opening. It let out a deep, resonant roar that vibrated through the valley floor. The little dragon darted forward, vanishing into its mother's embrace. The mother dragon turned, her massive head lowering until her eyes met Rocky, Mia, and the hedgehog. She bowed once, a silent, heavy acknowledgement of their effort. Rocky did not wait for praise or ceremony. He turned and began the long, steady descent back toward the forest floor. As the moonlight finally crested the mountain peak, casting long shadows over the path ahead, Rocky adjusted his pack. He felt the weight of the night shift into a calm rhythm. His eyes were already fixed on the next dark corner of the woods, scanning for the next mystery.